everybody, and welcome to episode 189 of Trials and Trebuchets. I'm your dungeon master, Luke. Joining me are my players, whose names are...
Hello, my name is Ben, and I play the level 10 gnome wizard Windsor Wallaby, along with his cutty little companion, Mr. Wiggles.
Meow. Meow, it's true.
Hello, it's me, Carla, and I play the level 10 tiefling roguelike Isla Insidious.
Isla?
No.
Isla?
Who?
Isoul Insidious. Dang, I ruined it. Actually, I'm Integrity Addleberry, and I have been committing fraud since 1902.
Oh, shit.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I play Mira Marchand, the level 10 half-elf bard. With the cast of the spell, I'll read your mind. I'm toxic, I'm using magic, wanna know if you lich, drop me a line. I'm toxic, I'm using magic.
Fantastic.
Beautiful.
Hello there, my name is Sam and I play the level 10 human sorcerer Sarah Nepsinderman, not committing fraud, but scaring the people who work for the school since about 5 hours ago.
We're still recording.
Yep.
And last time on Trials and Trebuchets, the students committed fraud to become a professor and accompanying teaching assistant. They then, as a collective, read the mind of Delnus Wraithrin to know ill effects, I suppose, and, of course, strong-armed, communally, their way to a meeting with Headmaster Crow before beginning the non-hostile takeover of the event planning committee.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's non-hostile.
You will
That's what I
vote for your
said.
downfall.
Yeah.
There you go. There's only
But
there's only a few choices.
It is true. 3 candidates.
Can't
We find ourselves in a dingy dungeon-like room. Books line the walls, and by the walls I mean the shelves upon the walls. There is a single long table made of wood, obviously, with benches, obviously as well made of wood. It looks as if it was plucked straight from dining hall and deposited here in the restricted section of the archives. Also known as the restricted archives, if you're a fucking fool, but that is where we find ourselves. There is a counter at the very far end, behind which is a kind of gated off barred, the book jail behind the counter. The counter where you once saw Ava Redding sitting and rolling up a scroll or just generally doing archivist things. She is no longer there. You do not see her. At the very least, she could still be here and invisible. You'd have no way of knowing. But in this room are 2 people and 2 people alone. Integrity Idleberry and Winsler Wallaby.
We're not technically alone. We have Wiggles here, too.
And Mr. Wiggles, the cat, who last time we were in the restricted section of the archives, was heavily frowned upon for being here as he had dander. But did he have dander? We did not ever determine that. Regardless of that, Integrity and Winsler, could you tell me and the audience, tell us all, what are you doing here in the restricted section?
All right. So,
Paint us a picture using your words, please.
Winsler has a plan, and it is a plan that involves helping Integrity.
Okay, walk us through the visual setup. Do you have books strewn across the table, or are you sitting as if in a business meeting at a long conference table with only 2 people?
No, at this point, we will be gathering a multitude of books. Mr. Wiggles can help us
wonderful.
out with that, but he'll probably only be able to carry like 1 at a time because he is a cat.
Spectacular.
But these books are specific towards warlocks and packs in general.
Is there a conversation as you 2 gather books? Is there a plotting of sorts?
I think so, yes. There is a plotting.
So, Winsler,
Yeah?
I know you said that you wanted to help me, and I'm a bit confused. How do you want to help me?
I guess that didn't really explain it that much. I kind of just dragged you into this. There's only one way that I think we might be able to help you by fixing the whole thing that you have with Mr. Bad Snake. And that has to do with the bond itself.
Okay.
The pact.
Yeah.
We're thinking we can sever that?
I'm thinking that there's probably different methods of how to do it. I'm worried that severing it might have implications.
Interesting. Do you think that having many warlock samples could help, perchance?
What do you mean samples?
Okay, well, I haven't told anyone this yet, but you know how the birds kept on yelling, I, trying to call me, I.
I mean,
And-
they're everywhere. I hear them all the time. It's hard to ignore them.
The silence in here is deafening. The lack of birds quite noticeable.
And recently, they've been saying something differently, and I made a promise to Keepsy a long time ago that I'm gonna find more warlocks and potentially help them with whatever they need help with so that they don't become evil. And you know me, I'm like such a great person, and I'm very helpful, and I keep my promises.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe we can look for warlocks in the school and can also help them with possibly severing ties.
I mean, if there's more warlocks out there, then I think if we devise a method that could work, then we could probably help them out. So my main idea is, instead of simply severing your bond, because I'm worried that there might incur some wrath, or because of this pact, you two are bound, and breaking that could harm you in ways that I don't really know or comprehend. I feel like the best way to go about it would be by moving your pact to someone else or something else.
So you're saying that we should find a willing person to transfer the curse to?
I don't think it necessarily has to be like a person. That's kind of why I want to experiment a little. I want to see if we can move it to something that's not like another student or something. I kind of want to like do it in a way that'll minimize as much harm as possible.
Wait a minute. Wait, is there like a is there like a place where I can easily grab clay and maybe some like pounded mandrake or mandrake?
Mandrake. If you recall Integrity I, Idleberry,
Yes.
there is a kind of like general access reagent take one, leave one station out in like the front entryway of the archives. If you recall, Winsler on this very visit has left some sheet metal and screws that he brought as a peace offering to the Modrons and was convinced to leave there. You could, if you would like, to leave Winsler to get as many of his books and trinkets and scrolls from the shelves that he might be able to use for help. You can abandon him in this quest and go back outside to the main archive to fetch your reagents if you would like.
Yes. In the middle of the conversation, just like as soon as Winsler said that, Integrity is just like going to look around and then run away.
Okay, wonderful. Winsler, you see her gallop away, running down the hall. Maybe her arms behind her. Who knows?
I'll be back soon. It's kind of
here.
scary in here.
Yeah. I'll be back real quick. Hang on.
Integrity, as you run by, could you make a perception check for me?
Uh-oh.
Ooh, okay.
The Modrons have followed us.
As you run from the restricted section.
I'm gonna use my ice cream dice.
Ooh.
I'm cutting that because they don't sponsor us.
Yeah.
He commented on our shirts, though.
He did. Perception.
Yes.
We got 19.
Ooh.
As you run from the restricted section down this dim arched, it's like a very dungeony hallway, just this drab flagstones and dark. It looks like someone, there's like been a fires and soot in here. It's just never been cleaned off the walls, if you catch my meaning.
Okay.
But there's a small patch on the side where it seems to be fresh, brand new, fresh stones composing the wall. You also hear like just generally around the sounds of like critters scuttling to and fro, which may worry you or may not worry you. But there is a fresh patch of stonework on the wall there. But regardless, if you don't want to do anything with that, you can keep running out of the restricted section back into the main archives.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, Winslow Wallaby, you would like to assemble helpful restricted books.
Mm-hmm.
Could you roll for me either a Arcana or just roll me an Arcana
All
check,
right,
please,
we'll do
to
Arcana.
determine how good of the books you get.
I'm good with that. That's a 22.
A 22. Okay, you can get a very long scroll that on it has, like, let's say it's like a 15-meter scroll, and like 15 by like 1 meter scroll to put in perspective. It is aged paper. As you grab it, the thing that sticks out to you is that upon it, it reads Compendium of Fiendish Deals and Doings. And you can grab that. As you are knowledgeable that fiends often make contracts. Again, you've took a demonology course even this very day where you talked about it at great length.
Yes.
The fact that demons and devils, fiends of all sorts, and you've experienced it firsthand from
I also have a
dealings with
contract
Celti.
right now.
Yes, that they often deal in contracts, and this kind of annulment is very up that alley. Furthermore, there is a gleaming golden white. It's like made of gold with enameled white paint on the cover and like blue gemstones set in. There's a big clasp on it, and the spine of it reads in a very, very heroic font, oath-breaking and oath-making. You interpret this, and you think it might be useful, as seems to be a book of the binding of a paladin's oath, and the circumstances by which it fails. And finally, Winsler, this is there's a small pamphlet you find. It's almost stuffed between two shelves, hidden away, but your keen eyes and careful examination of all the books in this archive reveals it to you. You pull it gently from the crack, and you dust off the cover. Wiggles hops up on the table to get a better look over your shoulder, and the two of you can read Writing the Book on Pacts, a informational pamphlet for the would-be warlock, written by Professor Fulm Dweldon.
Does that name sound familiar? I don't feel like it is.
You might roll a history check for me.
I'm gonna roll history. I want to say the name sounds familiar, but I don't know if it is in the slightest. It might be. That's a 21.
You read it, you rack your brain for 1, 2, 3. We hear almost a metronome ticking, the steam whirring out of your ears, and then it hits you. The name is familiar to you because you've heard one being in existence speak it. Professor Dweldon was named as the creator of Keepsy.
Oh, shit. So this was his book.
It's a small pamphlet. It's a trifold pamphlet. It is a bit grandiose in its titling, but nonetheless, you can grab it and sit down with this scroll, large paladin oath book, and a fun pamphlet.
That'll be useful.
Meanwhile, elsewhere on campus, Serenep Cinderman, you are returning a bit happy with yourself, I would presume, after your meeting with Mr. Horse Wrangler. Your wrangling of Mr. Horse Wrangler, I could say. I would imagine that you are walking home from the alchemy department. You are walking by the greenhouses, and immediately, something that you do take note of, and maybe you walk this way intentionally, is that there is a very, very large tree that is now sprouted up from a side out of the way patch of dirt. Your sweetling, its purple and green bark and silvery leaves, is probably the same height as the alchemy building, a 3-story building, and it is sprawling out its leaves to create a wonderful canopy and a wonderful patch of shade where there is still snow left upon the campus. Would you like to do anything with it, or just commune with it in any way?
Every time, I try and pass this way as much as possible because of everything with the sweetling back in Isethil. I want to check on it every once in a while. I want to make sure it's healthy and happy and safe.
Roll for me a nature check, please.
Yes. Should I use my curse dice?
I think you should.
Sure. Let's go with it. 17 plus 2, a 19.
A 19. You place your hand, or is there a specific way you want to commune with it? Because I would just say placing a hand, but I would love for you to flavor this your way.
I think what they would do is kind of because it's a large tree at this point. I'm sure there's a spot at the trunk where the snow isn't as packed up that I can kind of move to the side and sit down under the tree.
Absolutely. sitting, it's almost like there is a little nestle of roots that is like the perfect size for you to sit at its base, Serenep. Sit cross-legged there. The snow almost melted supernaturally to allow for this. But you can sit there and try to meditate and attune yourself to the sweetling, and you feel its presence surrounding you. Overwhelmingly, you feel a great magical flow coming from it. Very reminiscent of how it feels to be in Isithil. If you recall, in the Loft of Elders, there was a great warmth and comfort that came from that place that just seemed to rain from the magic there. You're getting a very similar, it's evoking a similar feel here, sitting in its roots.
Oh, I think, kind of thinking back to what Angelica said earlier in the day about, like, being able to look at me. Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm. Karina,
Yeah,
I think you
I'm
mean.
so
Yes.
sorry.
Oh, shit,
I was
Angelica's
like,
back.
you were talking with
The
Angelica?
lack of amount of time that I've actually spoken to Karina means that, like, I'm like, like, oh yeah, of course I would talk to Angelica,
Default
right? Like,
to her, yeah.
exactly. Like,
The
this is
other
the only
one.
twin I talk to. Kind of going back to like Karina's whole thing about like watching me, but me also being able to watch her, apparently in real time, watching me. It's kind of that feeling of like this this warmth and home that like
Yeah.
the Sweetling gives me. It's probably a long shot. Like, we're so far away from the kingdom, and I don't know, but like, I kind of want to try to reach out in some way to Philip, who I have not heard anything
Serenep
from.
Cinderman, I will humbly remind you
Mhm.
that you have an amulet with an eyeball on it
Yeah.
that allows you to scry. That is so long as you are on the same plane, I believe, but feel free to read the spell.
That's when you tell me, oh yeah, by the way, not in the same plane. Whoops.
He's an
Philip's
Ib now.
Phil.
Like,
Oh, true.
he's an original
The
Ib.
original
Hell,
Ib.
actually.
No.
Oh no. Oh no.
You can see and hear a particular creature you choose that is on the same plane of existence as you. The target must make a wisdom saving throw, which is modified by how well you know the target and the sort of physical connection you have to it. If a target knows you're casting the spell, it can fail the saving throw voluntarily if it wants to be observed. On a successful save, the target isn't affected, and you can use this spell against it again for 24 hours. On a failed save, the spell creates an invisible sensor within 10 feet of the target. You can see and hear through the sensor as if you were there. The sensor moves with the target, remaining within 10 feet of it for the duration. A creature that can see invisible objects sees your sensor as a luminous orb about the size of your fist.
Sick.
So,
So powerful.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and reach out. I know him. I've known him almost my entire life, but I don't think I have anything physically of his with me.
yes.
So
If you don't have anything, it doesn't affect the modifier, but if you know the target well, it adds a -5 to the difficulty.
Wonderful.
If you have a likeness or picture, that would also decrease the DC by 2.
Do you have a Philip doll?
Portrait of any
Yeah,
kind.
do you have anything of his?
I mean, you could probably just break into his dorm, right? Like,
this
but like his stuff would still be there, right?
He's not using it.
Yeah.
Or you're rich enough, you might have like a painting of you guys when you guys were kids.
Oh
or
my
even,
God.
Like, during prom.
well,
Prom pics.
you think I went to
painting.
prom?
That was the gala.
Yeah. I don't think there was any joy. There was enough joy in that to get a painting done of us, but I think anything I have of his would be back in my dorm. And I'm already in this place, so I think just the feeling of like I've known this person for so long, I think I'll just use that and see if it works out.
Okay. So, Serenep, as you sit here, you can kind of hold your eyeball amulet and shut your eyes and begin to try to cast it. What is your saving throw?
My saving throw is
Spell save DC.
Oh, spell save would be 16.
Oh, wonderful. Philip, in this case, had rolled a 10.
Oh no.
Brilliant.
So, in that case, he has failed his saving throw. You see through. It's almost like your mind is racing like a bird flying across the land, down south, away from Wildcliff, across the the large plains of the Ashwin Kingdom, and out eastwards, far from the coast. And you find yourself, Serenep, seeing the cabin of a ship. It's well decorated. There's a sizable table with a comfortable looking chair. Large tomes are stacked upon that table, and sleeping soundly in the bed is Philip Maisel. He seems to be on a boat of a sort. You can hear the crashing of waves outside and the creaking of the wood and the sails above.
I don't think she can. Like, you can't really do anything when scrying, so I think.
No, you can just watch him.
Yeah, I think she like kind of like brings her hand back and she kind of like touches the sapling, or sorry, the sweetling. Like rests her hand on like one of the roots of the sweetling next to her, and just I don't know, just watches him for a bit, just because.
Absolutely.
This was the first time
Edward
she even
Cullinan.
thought like this is
Oh
the first
my
time
God.
they even thought that they would be able to see him. Like she was waiting for a letter and that just wasn't.
Yeah,
So
it wasn't coming.
yeah.
Yeah. Another note that you do see is hung up on almost like a coat hook. There is like a large, well-used like traveling coat, like an overcoat of sorts that someone might wear. And additionally, next to that, you see hung up is a pristine condition looking student's robe for Wildcliff School of the Arcane. Other than that, details in this room are sparse and it is well cleaned. He hasn't left all of his scribblings out on the table for you to read, so unfortunately that is all the information you glean. You can watch him for some time and feel almost potentially a sense of hope wash over you, or just like thankfulness that he's not dead at the very least. And then you can open your eyes and find yourself back on Wildcliff campus. Sereneth, as you get up from the Sweetling, after however long you would like to linger here for, you walk your way towards the dormitories, where the people sleep, where the people live. And as you approach the kind of entryway into the courtyard within the dormitories that kind of like separates the two buildings and has like the dining hall right there, it's like this big archway that you go through every single day. You run into another person. Mira Marchand,
Hi.
you are coming off of the high of having announced to Bailey that you'll be running against him. What's Mira's... I want to use the word strut. I can't imagine anything else, as you are feeling pretty good, I would imagine, after that event planning committee meeting.
I
right?
would describe it less as like feeling good and more like when there's that fire inside you. Like you're on the adrenaline high. It isn't necessarily a good
Yes.
feeling, but it is a very active feeling.
Yes. So, Sereneth, you in a very tranquil state see Mira looking determined, passionate. She's like, her eyes are wide, walking straight towards you.
You seem ready to do something and I'm very worried about that.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
It's going well. I set up a meeting to get hopefully the rest of our stuff back from Troil. I'm meeting Headmaster Crow, I think at like 6 o'clock tomorrow. So
6 o'clock tomorrow. Should we all be there?
I would say yeah, just to kind of like make our case about everything. You're very excited about something though.
Oh, yes. So, okay, I guess I'll have to move that to either before or after the meeting. Oh, so there's going to be a school election. Okay, you know how Bailey like sucks and is the worst and like just is terrible in general. So finally, I was
Absolutely.
like, right? Okay, so I was like at the meeting, okay, nobody's running, right? Nobody's gonna run. And then Sindra was there, and I guess she's running, but whatever, we don't need to worry about that. And then Bailey, I was like, hey, actually, I'm gonna run for the election. But then he said that everyone in the school has to vote, which I thought it was just gonna be an inner club thing, which would be way easier, but like, I'm down for this. So I might want some help with some, election stuff. I'm wondering if we can get dirt on Bailey. I'm wondering, do you still have that amulet you used to scry? Because I was thinking we could like watch him and see what he's doing maybe and like see if we can dig some dirt up. The only problem is then we have to figure out how to disseminate too, because like Angelica isn't conscious to spread gossip and Ari isn't around, and I mean it's bad form to spread it yourself, so we have to figure out like if we find dirt who to leak it to, I've been talking for a while. How are you?
As he was going, also I've been holding on to the scrying necklace as I was walking. So also
Perfect.
you're just kind of going, and I'm just gonna slowly bring my hand. I'm just gonna rest it on your shoulder, just kind of let you continue going.
You feel the buzzing from within
Yeah.
Mira emanating outwards.
I'm doing well. I do have the scrying necklace. I tried it out for the first time. Number one, I get very seasick apparently because I just anyway,
Seasick?
Philip's on a boat.
Oh shit. So he's like,
But
is it
he's
like
okay.
a prison boat, or is he like with his family or
No,
something?
I didn't see any of his family with him, but he had like his own cabin, and it was nicely decorated, and it looked like he was just sort of staying there. Like it wasn't like a prisoner
Okay, that's
situation, but
good. So he's like
he's
fleeing.
not. Yeah, he's not in the continent right now.
Wow, damn.
Yeah.
I guess he couldn't really write to you or anything like that if he was on a boat or something. I wonder if he's gonna try to find you, or if he's just like splitting.
I mean, if he's gonna go looking for me, I think he's going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad he's okay. How are you feeling?
I'm happy he's okay. I kind of wish we weren't in this situation. I feel like a lot of people would in this situation wish they weren't in that situation.
No kidding.
Like it's love is complicated
Yeah.
at all times.
Yeah.
Isn't it,
But
Samira?
I I can help with finding dirt on Bailey. And hopefully, I mean, tomorrow we'll be able to, talk to Crow, hopefully explain the situation, get all of our stuff back and all of our people back that we left in Troil, and like Delmas is working on the thing to, let us go into the mines and all that stuff, so
Yeah, she is.
that's all gonna be figured out.
Yeah. Hey.
You see Mira's face distort a little bit when you mention Delnus's name.
Hey.
I'm sorry. I know the last time you guys talked, it was like the gala and all that. I'm sorry. That was like poor taste of me.
Pretty rough last time we talked. Hey, Serenep, I have a question.
Yeah. What's up?
I know you and Philip were never like dating, and it was just like a will they or won't they. But when you guys like were growing up together, did you ever like really mess up with him? Like really hurt him just by accident or just by being careless or something?
Okay. I talked about this a bit ago. When I was like really, really, when I was younger, before I met Philip and his parents and they taught me about the world and stuff, I was like a small version of my parents and I was a horrible person. I just wasn't a good person when I was really young, but so I know like messing, like I messed with him a lot and I really shouldn't have, and he was so understanding of the fact that like that wasn't really me, cuz like, but after I met them, after I talked to them and talked about everything, but 100% like it's almost impossible in my personal opinion to find the perfect relationship, like there's gonna be things, there's gonna be like maybe a bad part of history in your relationship. Again, like the whole, like you were looking out for Adonis, and I'm sure she understands that. Like I'm hoping that like maybe she like cooled off, and like next time we see her at school or something, like you guys will be able to have a conversation and that kind of stuff.
I read her mind.
What?
I read her mind with magic, and then she got me this really nice gift, and I felt awful, and I freaked out, and I told her about it, and then she just sort of left, which I wouldn't blame her. I would do the same thing, but toxic. Like, I don't know.
I mean,
I'm glad that, I mean, like, whatever you were like as a kid, you were a kid, you know what I mean? But it's nice that you and Philip still, even if that you guys still care about each other, even with everything.
I mean, it's okay. So I don't know what you think of when you look at me and Philip. It took a number of years of us knowing each other for us to reach the level of friendship that we had. You know what I mean? Like,
did you guys like not like each other at the start?
Well, I mean, I was okay. So when
Mira fishing for enemies to lovers.
So it's sort of like I'm like leaning against the wall now as I'm
Yeah,
trying to like.
I had imagined the two of you are like leaning,
Oh, yeah.
maybe even sitting on like a bench out front from dining hall.
We've like
in,
bumped
the little
into each
covered
other,
entryway.
and now we're
Okay.
Yeah, now you're just sitting, telling each other about these things into the later hours of the night. You can do so, and elsewhere on campus, your friends will be alone.
Sad.
Integrity Idleberry.
Yes.
It was a quick journey out to the main room of the archives. You fetched your 1 pound of clay, 1 pound of ash, and 1 pound of ground up mandrake root. Luckily, there was 2 pounds of ground up mandrake root for you to grab.
Perfect.
Thank God they never have that.
You can snatch all that up into a bag of sorts, and rush back to the restricted section, where Winsler has now spread out his reading materials and is continuing his wizardly approach to warlock pacts. You run back past that weird, new, fresh set of bricks in the wall into the restricted archives, and what do you want to do with your newfound reagents, Integrity Idleberry?
Okay, Winsler. Okay. Come here. I'm going to grab the 3 things, slap them on the counter,
Of
grab,
course.
look into my bag and
What's all
scramble
this?
to find a jar that has squirrel hearts. The one that I stole, or one squirrel heart. The one
That's
that
been in there for so long.
But it's pickled. It's fine.
And I'm going to gently put that on the table, not smashing.
Yes.
And then I'm going to go deep in my pocket and I'm going to take out the book that I got from the Loft of Elders, if I recall.
Yes.
And I'm going to open it to the page that I wanted to, and I'm going to slap it on the table, and I'm going to point at it and be like, Winsler, I think I know what we can do.
Winsler, you look at the page, you read your heavy share of primordial, if I'm not mistaken. The words you see, homunculus, and a recipe to create such a beast, such a servant, an alchemically created servant to the creator.
Does
that-
this work?
Is that why you went and got all that stuff? How long have you had that in your bag?
Well, I've always had it after we got it, just because, like, you know, in case they try to trace it, at least I can have it in my bag. I can easily dispose of it if I need to. If I left it inside my room, people might find it. So it's just been
Does
there.
it smell?
Oh,
You
there
both
was a s-
Vinegar.
there was
kneel
this one
down
time-
and look at it as it floats around in its pickling fluid.
There was this one time I opened it in my room, and then Sylvie made me sleep outside because apparently I should not, like, open smelly things in our dorm room.
I mean, I feel like that's just never mind. So you think you wanna go ahead and try and make this?
Well, you said that we need an entity, and I was already planning on making it to sort of spy around for me. You know, with all my busy schedule, I can't be
Spy?
screening every single person for who's a warlock and who's not. But maybe I can use the homunculus, if we do make it, to look for warlocks for us, and then later on we can use it to transfer the pack to.
That sounds like
I
a
don't
good
know.
idea. I'd rather devise a safe method to test it on something later than to try and do it immediately, because I don't think it would end well for the homunculus. It might just go boom. I don't know. So we could go ahead and try and make this. I'm gonna have to do a lot of studying on all this pack stuff, and then eventually we might have to put it to the test and see how that works.
While you do have to study the pact stuff, the recipe of creation for this homunculus, well listed and complete upon the page. So you could make this little fella now and just have him kick around until you figure out how to do things. Winston.
It'll be like making a golem, except way easier.
Do you know how long homunculuses live for?
I'm
You
gonna
both
be honest
make-
with you. I had no idea homunculus was a word until you brought it to me, so I couldn't tell you.
Ah.
Integrity, you could try to make an arcana check for me.
Okay. I can do an arcana check. Let's use you. Okay. That's an 18.
An 18. You look down at the page and it says, homunculuses live the same lifespan as their creators and will die when their creators die. That's the tone you
Wow.
think that the page has.
Okay. I read it again, and I think I missed it because, you know, I usually read when I'm about to sleep, and who the heck does that? And it says that it will live a long time, so we can probably just, like, fast, quick make it, and then
Fast, quick.
we can do. I want to do the research with you. I'm not gonna let you do just do all the heavy lifting. I want to carry the burden with you.
All right, I hope you have enough brain space to hold all that burden then.
So, Integrity,
Yes.
Winsler, do you want to follow the recipe and make a homunculus here in the restricted section?
Well, of course.
Right
Where
here,
else
right
would we
now.
do it?
Right here,
Wonderful.
right now, we're doing it.
First step is to collect the ingredients. 1 pound each: clay, ash, ground mandrake root, and the heart of a small creature, or blood will suffice.
Damn, a whole pound of blood? Where are
The
we gonna get that?
second step maketh mud with the reagents, either within a cauldron or upon a spell-bound tome, such as Wizard Book.
May I borrow your wizard book, Winsler?
Oh my gosh.
All right, be careful with it though.
Which one do you want to give her?
Don't
Do
look
you wanna
at
give her
page
the-
137.
Do you want to give her your like old book, or do you want to give her like the new one that you stole from Artis's house?
I'll give her my old book.
Okay, wonderful. Integrity, you are past this charred husk of a spell book. You can turn to one of the blank pages and dump all your gunk onto Winsler's spell book. You see it as it lands. It makes a little muddy, gross. Like there's a bit of wetness still to the clay. The ash sticks to it from that. And on top of that, the mandrake powder, this fine, it's almost like saffron. It's what it looks like. You sprinkle a pound of that over the top and then just knead it until it is like a doughy construction. And then you can crack open the jar, Integrity Idleberry. The foul smell emanates in this room. Winsler and Integrity, make a Constitution saving throws, each of you, please.
Disgusting. Foul.
I got a 14.
Okay.
It's so hard to see because it's so dark in my room, but I got a 3.
Okay. Oh my. Okay. The both of you are poisoned for the next hour. You have
Great.
disadvantage on all ability checks.
Great. Lovely.
So, Integrity, you open this putrid scent fills your nostrils. You feel sick to your stomach as if you're about to collapse from inhaling these fumes. And you can pluck the heart out gently and tenderly and place it into the doughy media that you have created, Integrity Idleberry. Do the two of you say any words as Integrity places it here and you both stand and watch it for a second?
Oh, I feel like I'm gonna be sick. Ugh.
I know. Is this what it felt like when you made your golem?
No, there wasn't any organic materials involved.
And as Windsor says, organic material, the mandrake root begins to glow, almost burning. The ash gets dusted up into the air, and the clay starts to bubble and stand upright. It almost starts to begin to float like 2 or 3 inches above the page. Winsler, you see your spell book. The page itself that you had poured all this stuff out on begins to burn in a dark brown fire, and you see the heart slowly sucked into the center of the clay as all of these reagents combine. Little legs pop out with little claws of clay at the end. 2 little arms go pop, pop. They make loud sounds. A rotund little tummy forms from the clay. A pair of wings unfurl from the back. And finally, a big-eared little flat-faced, almost looking like a marmot of a sort, head emerges from the clay, sculpted as if by someone who's not very good at sculpting. And finally, with a small crackle, the wizard's spellbook page burns to nothingness, and the homunculus lands, and standing a magnificent 6 inches tall, it will go, "Nyah!" as it raises its hands up in glory at its own creation.
Oh wow, it's smaller than me.
It is putrid in here. It smells, the homunculus itself smells of the heart and the pickling fluid.
Windsor's just gonna pull out like prestidigitation like a fucking Febreze sprayer, just trying to get the smell out of here.
It looks so cute.
It stands awaiting its instructions from its creator. It looks at you with 2 big clayish eyes, Integrity Idleberry.
God, it's adorable. What the fuck?
Can you help me find warlocks?
Uh-oh.
It will place its right arm on under its little tummy and will, with its left arm, point it back and commit a large bow, Integrity, hinging at the hip so as to... It's just bowing like a little nobleman.
Aw,
And it
okay.
will stop bowing and then immediately jump up in the air, taking flight and flapping its wings. It flaps loudly. It sounds like it is going to create, it sounds like it's making little windstorms wherever it's going. The real life equivalent would be as if a pigeon was flapping around and it will begin to fly out of the restricted archives slowly but surely on its quest to find you, Warlock's Integrity. Do you yell any further specific directions at it as it leaves?
Help me find warlocks in Wadcliffe School of the Arcane, and please please try to be stealthy and don't hurt them.
You hear a "Nyeh" as it flies away down the hallway, and you hear a cacophony as the goat door opens and it leaves to complete your chore.
Integrity, I don't think you gave it a name. I think you just let it go and now it's gone.
No, I think what do you mean I didn't give it a name?
Don't you normally name stuff that you get?
Do you name stuff that you get? Does
No.
your book have a name, Winsler?
No, it's just a book.
Mr. Wiggles sits on the table, making a very scrunched up cat face and goes, "Well, you named me when you summoned me."
Well, yeah, but, you didn't have one. I gave you one. Oh.
All of you are just sitting here disgusted at the scent. And Winsler, you can carry on reading these things, or we can leave the restricted archives where this scent is terrible. And you can try to, if you wanted to, smuggle these things out, as you are not allowed to take restricted archive books with you out of the restricted archives. There's no archivist watching.
Well, as you know, I am an agent of chaos. And I do not wish to stay in this room any longer than I have to because of how terrible and disgusting it is.
Okay.
So, portable hole time.
Ooh.
I'm going to pull it out of my pocket, lay it on the floor,
Yes.
and scoop everything off the table into it.
Windsor pulls out this silk handkerchief, opens it on the ground. A 10-foot interdimensional space appears, and Windsor just pushes a bunch of books and scrolls and pamphlets off into the hole, and then you can just neatly fold it up and toss it into your pocket. So, the two of you. Would you
All
like
right,
to leave?
Integrity, can
Yeah.
we get out of here? I can't stay here any longer.
There's nothing more that I would like to walk away from here. I don't know why I did
The
that.
song?
I'm sorry.
The two of you walk away from this stenchy room and begin walking down the hallway to leave. It's a short hallway, maybe 30 feet long. On the left side of it, as you're leaving, Integrity, you see that patch of very, very brand new looking bricks, and both of you can once again make a perception check for me.
Time to do that.
Oh, there's some nice bricks.
What did I roll? Oh, that's not bad.
I got 11.
11.
I got an 18.
18. Integrity, you see the bricks. Your senses are clouded with the stench of things in this room. Winsler, you notice the bricks as well, and you hear from the other side a very hushed voice that goes, "Is now the time."
Hello?
They heard us! And you hear scuttling and screeching from the other side. Do you want to do anything?
I want to inspect the wall.
Okay, you walk up to the wall. How would you like to inspect it?
It's more homunculus.
I want to, tap my knuckle against it.
Your knuckle goes straight through the illusory bricks. You hear the scuttling of hundreds of little feet on the other side of this door, or the other side of this wall. Windsor Wallaby. Integrity, you see him. He pushes his hand through the wall. Once again, the master of finding illusory walls, Windsor Wallaby. Well, Integrity found it last time, but nonetheless, what do you want to do, Windsor? Do you want to proceed through?
Are walls supposed to do this?
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna poke my head through.
Winsler
Hello?
Wallaby, you poke your head through and yell, "Hello." You see utter darkness on the other side. Your dark vision, as you are a gnome, allows you to see that there are two tunnels. One that winds up a few feet and to the left, and the other which winds down a few feet and to the right. You see that one ends very abruptly in a very tiny, what looks like rat hole or a mouse hole. The path up to the left is where you hear the scurrying of hundreds of feet, and you hear your voice echo in this cavernous little chamber that you have found. "Hello? Hello? Hello?" And almost as if your voice has paralyzed whatever is up there, you hear the hundreds of little footsteps stop.
Can pull my head back out. Integrity, there's like a whole cave behind here. There's also like a bunch of skittering. You probably heard that, right?
Did I hear that?
You heard skittering of things like little pests in the walls. You didn't interpret that as being a massive cavern on the other side of this door has hundreds of skittering beasts in it. But you are familiar with skittering beasts in school, yes.
Oh, so, I mean, I know that there's a lot of caves in this school, so I'm not surprised, but do you want to go and follow it?
If I go, will you follow me?
When did I ever leave a friend behind, eh?
Oh.
I can't recall.
Exactly.
Winsler, do you want to lead the way?
I will lead the way, yes.
Wonderful. You see
Sickly as
Winsler
we are.
We never see them
disappear,
again.
coughing a little bit through this set of bricks. Integrity, you have to crouch to get through. It's only 3 feet tall, or like 3.5 feet tall maybe, and you can scuttle on through. The cavern on the other side is much larger, however. You now find yourself at a fork. To the left, it goes up to where the skittering came from, and to the right, a rat hole, Winsler.
How big is said rat hole? I'm gonna assume it's as big as a rat.
It's rat-sized, yes.
Yep, that's definitely a rat hole. We'll go left.
Are you being cautious?
Yes.
Okay, give me stealth checks then.
Just Winsler?
Both of you.
Can be better. It's a 13.
Stealth 26.
Jesus,
Ah.
that's double me.
Okay, Integrity, you are the knight. You are silence itself. Winsler is making a lot of noise here. Big goofy ass feet, you might say. He stomps up the cavern in front of you. And Winsler, you, with some caution, inch into a large room before you. Integrity is probably like 3 feet behind you, taking her time and being much more cautious. And Winsler, you hear that voice go, okay, now! And then Integrity Idleberry in front of you and Winsler Wallaby above you, you see a large steel cage fall down over top of you. It goes ka-chonk against the ground. It's big, it's heavy, there's a big rope. And you see both of you immediately stepping out from behind a lectern at the far end of this room. It's almost like there's a small archive in here as well. There's bookshelves carved from the stone. There's a lectern carved from stone as well. And upon it is a big book that is, you can't read it from this distance. It's probably 20 or so feet away. As well, you see the backside of some of the bookshelves in the restricted archives itself. Almost like this room has access to those shelves and they have been pulling things out of there willy-nilly. But the important thing is that from behind the lectern, you see 4 figures emerge, each in about 3 feet tall, each wearing a purple cloak pulled up over their heads with beautiful white fur trim. The figure that seemed to have been speaking, Winsler, will walk towards you. Integrity, they still have not seen you. You are hidden, just so you're aware. Only Winsler has been found so far. Winsler, this figure walks up to your cage, your prison, and will pull back the hood, and you see there a single rat with the hood wrapped, or like the collar of the shirt wrapped around the rat's head. You hear the scurrying of many feet beneath the robe as the rat seems to be a rat atop a mass of other rats as it makes its way over to you, Winsler. And on its skull, when you see it pull back the hood, there is a small glass dome through which you see its brain. And as it opens its mouth to speak
It's the
to
cranium rats again.
as
What
it
in the
opens its mouth
Wayside
to speak to
School?
you, you see it begin to glow a bright purple, and it will say, "We have caught you, interposer. What is your purpose here?"
I'm gonna use my conjuration magic to teleport myself out of the cage and right next to it.
Winsor, there's no sound, there's no visual anything. You are just instantaneously next to this rat mound. It looks down at you
Hi.
in horror and shock. The 3 other cranium rat mounds have pulled back their hoods and let out a chorus of, "I didn't know that they could do that." And another one goes, "It's their huge brains. It lets them do all sorts of magics." The main rat mound looks down at you, its nose turned up in disgust, and will say, "You've outsmarted me on this one, I see. Nonetheless, what is your purpose here? You're interrupting our studies."
I mean, I guess we just came here because we needed to get some books and stuff. What are you? What is this right now? Who are all you?
Integrity, are you still hiding at this point?
I'm trying to wait for like Winsler's extracting information from them. Like I will
yes.
come out once I realize if they're actually non-hostile.
Winsler, make a persuasion check.
This is gonna end up shit, I tell you.
Maybe not.
Not bad. 16. Better than I
The
thought.
rat, the cranium rat, nods its head, its little eyes shut. It's such an odd sight, Winsler. The head is so small because it is just a rat head.
It's so tiny.
And it will say, "We here are the sages. I myself am a scholar of my kind. You may call me Menthis." And then it will point to the other three and in turn say, "That is Trentus, that is Penthus, and that is Ratthus."
Are you kidding me?
He is the newest among us. He chose his name his own self. Do not mock us. We are skilled scholars in our own right.
Oh, so you just have this place to like learn stuff?
Just to learn stuff, he says. And the rats all share a little cackle. Just to learn stuff. And the rat, Menthis, will look down at you and will say, "We have this place to conduct our secret studies.
What kind of secret studies?
The kind that remains secret."
I mean, I did just kind of teleport out of your cage, so I think I should get a little bit of a morsel of information from that, you know? I've kind of outsmarted y'all. I kind of deserve a little bit of something.
Trentus does say, "You must concede, Menthis, that the creature is smart, although overdeveloped." And Menthis will shake their little rat head and go, "I'll tell you, as you can do nothing to stop it.
All right.
We were researching ways to poison the water."
What the fuck?
Can I ask why? Is there a particular reason you wanted to poison the water?
Menthis will lean down. Winsler, their form is large, imposing, maybe a little intimidating. And they will say, Menthis, the rat, will say, "We are going to poison the water supply of this school, sending out a horrible cascade of disease across you, the students, and your professors, and the attendants on the school, and then we will bring you into the network.
This is how the plague started.
But why?
All living beings would do well to be part of the network. You might have a large, useless, oversized brain, but you will still be of use to Our Lady."
Who? I'm
The
sorry.
rats-
I'm very
The
overwhelmed
rat
by the amount
stands
of.
up. The rat stands up to its full ratty mound height, and the other rat mounds will say, "Brother Menthis, is it now time? Should we be leaving, or are we going to be taking this one with us?" And Menthis will look down at you, Winsler Wallaby, and will say, "Would you come with us willingly?
Well, are you gonna poison me? I'm kind of already feeling ill.
If you... the plan is definitely to poison you. That still stands. But not right now, not right here. It's the water supply we poison, not the people.
Well, how come you haven't done that yet?
Hush, you... Oh, they overthink these things. The big brain, too much time to process things. A smaller brain, less developed, more in tune with the ways of things. We cannot overthink things. Us, the scholars of our kind. You, and they'll poke you. A rat nose pokes out from the sleeve and pokes you in the chest. Not a hand, just a rat nose. And they will say, Menthis will continue and say, "You overthink things. You take too long. You dilly-dally. You jump out of a trap, but you don't realize the other one has been sprung yet, do you?"
There's a second cage?
There's no second cage. We...
Well, then what's the
took
other trap?
away-
I don't feel like you're as smart as you think you are.
Winsler Wallaby. The rat gives you its best deadpan expression and will put a rat on your shoulder and will say, "We have trapped you in here. While you have been speaking to us, small rodents have boarded up the illusory wall through which you stumbled."
you board up an illusory wall?
Integrity Idleberry.
Yeah.
I will ask you, what do you want to be in this moment?
I
these
think-
moments,
I
you
think it is
hear
time
the
to play our
entire
cards.
conversation.
I think it's time to play our cards.
Play our cards? I didn't know that.
Jump out!
Oh.
Winslow, you're like looking over your shoulder, nervous. Did Integrity leave you? You have not heard a peep from her. Maybe she didn't even come in after you.
I guess I'm dead.
Integrity, what are you doing?
Integrity is going to jump out and she's going to be like, "You're not going to take my friend, dead or alive."
Make an intimidation check for me as you yelled as you proclaim this.
You were still here? I thought you left me. It was so quiet.
I would never leave a friend behind.
Integrity, what'd you get on your
Integrity is
intimidation?
trying to like emanate Joan
Joan
Oh,
energy.
okay.
Oh, boy.
Integrity?
No.
What did you get on your
Diane
intimidation?
Danger. Not
Diane
Joan.
Danger
Oh my
energy?
god.
Integrity? What did you get on your intimidation roll?
Oh my god. I'm sweating like balls. Oh. Non-natural 20.
Yo.
You see the rat scholar known as Ratthis fall over wholly as if they are shocked to their very core that there's another person in here. The other two go and like emit a high screech of fear, and then Memphis will say, "It is no matter if there are two of you, you will die."
Well, technically there's 3, and I'm gonna pull out of my pocket, Mr. Wiggles.
God.
Perfect. And as you pull out Mr. Wiggles, he sees a horde of rat beings in his way, and we will pick up with this next time on
Oh
Trials.
my
and
god.
Not how I expected that episode to go.
What is
I
this,
love
rat
it.
brigade?
Carla, could you give us an outro, please?
No! Dang, what a ratty situation this episode is.
There you go.
Hope that you all enjoyed it. Please leave a rating or a review on our iTunes or wherever you listen to this podcast. Don't forget to also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Trials and Trebs, where you can get updates on what's the shindig that's happening, you know, when the episode's out, and you can also have access to teasers before it happens. And last but not the least, we love your money. We love money.
We love money.
I'm joking. We do love money, but that is not the case. The case is that we have a Patreon where you can give money to support the podcast and all our daily life expenses and also podcast expenses so that we can continue doing this and you can listen to us. And another thing is we have a merch store.
Yes.
Where is our merch store?
Trebmerch.com.
Trebmerch.com. There's clothes, well, one t-shirt, and there's stickers. We also have a bunch of little stickers that you should take a look at.
Yeah, head over there. Trebmerch.com.
Yes, please.
Yeah, thanks for
And
listening,
join our
everyone.
Discord.
Join our Discord down
Join.
below.
Go to Treb Merch.
Thank
Do
you
all
for
that stuff.
listening to everyone. Thank you for listening. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.